YouTube, what it do is your boy Benji, and we back on TV. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe, man. We love all things entertainment this way, and we love wrestling. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I checked out some of what was going on WWE NXT over the weekend, as well as AEW. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna start doing more reviews. I'm checking that stuff out, bro. I'm keeping consistent with that because I ain't gonna lie. I feel like we got much better content over there than we're getting from the main roster at WWE Raw. But I will say the recent episode of Raw was not too bad. Like, seriously. Legit. We'll get into it, though. Alright, so the show starts off Seth Rollins and his faction, which I don't think we really got a name yet. Maybe this is the Vision, led by the Visionary, the Three Amigos, and Seth Rollins. Sure. They introduced Bronson Reed now being a member of the faction. I'm not necessarily sure why at this point he needs Paul Heyman, because I mean, what does Paul Heyman add? I mean, Paul Heyman did try to cook and blend everything together and speak for everybody, but again, it doesn't really make any sense because I think the character that Seth Rollins is, even currently, doesn't necessarily need a hype man. And so I'm not quite sure what Paul Heyman brings to this group since they have muscle. Other than, I guess, the manipulation. I mean, we saw that Paul Heyman was able to manipulate Jey Uso into getting Seth Rollins a title shot. And he was able to do some weaseling and wiggling in the backstage in order to possibly convince Sami Zayn to join SmackDown and get him a title shot. But I don't really know what Paul Heyman brings other than another person that could snake them. Now, I'm not too mad. Paul Heyman did explain why Bronson Reed, I hope I've been referring to him as right person because there's so many Brons. Why Bronson Reed joined the faction. At the end of the day, Seth Rollins has some solid muscle behind him. Dude, Paul Heyman, I know you're not acknowledging Seth Rollins. Anyways, end of the day, a lot of the argument was, Braun Breaker, no way. How are you going to be able to sign with Seth Rollins after what all y'all went through? I'm not upset about it because the angle that Paul Heyman took was the angle that a lot of us believed he was going to take. At the end of the day, he was so impressed that this dude would stand toe-to-toe with him and actually be the person to take him out. And I agree with Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns and CM Punk were not enough to keep him grounded. And Bronson Reed was the one that was able to take him to the ground and keep him there. He took Seth Rollins out of action. At the end of the day, they never really had true beef. I think that it kind of exuded just off of pure confidence because Bronson Reed was trying to show the world that he could hang with Seth Rollins. He was so upset that Adam Pearce wasn't giving him opportunities on the biggest show, so he continued to just wreck house until he got what he wanted, which was somebody to believe in him that he was main event worthy. And now Seth Rollins believes in him to be somebody who is main event worthy. That's cool with me. I think Braun Breaker takes a step back, though, joining into this faction. I mean, I get he's the muscle, but this dude was a two-time Intercontinental Champion within the last year. Seth Rollins is struggling to beat Sami Zayn. Brother, I beat Sami Zayn. I beat Jey Uso. I can get a championship match myself. He was hanging with Jey Uso even the last time they matched up, but it wasn't for the title. What do I need Seth Rollins to give me a title for? What am I going to learn from him? In no world will Seth Rollins reference as a GOAT. So what do I gain from aligning myself with this dude, if not for me just getting to learn from Paul Heyman? And that just comes with me learning from Paul Heyman. At the end of the day, we've seen the turn of CM Punk because he's become more like people he hates. He talked about how Roman Reigns was greedy with power. He talked about how CM Punk was just extremely prideful. He's become both of those things and believes that he's the one that can save the industry. Don't know how. Don't know what his plan is. He just wants to go get the World Heavyweight Championship back, which he believes will help him save the future of the industry. I don't think any of us really understand what that may mean. But at the very end of the day, the dude is the monster that he was looking to save us all from. But some people have that perspective where they believe that it's better them than anybody else, right? Like if anybody got to do bad, at least if I do it my way, it'll be better than them doing it their way. We had a pretty cool match between PENTA, Chad Gable, and Dragon Lee. I mean, dude, Dragon Lee is trying to show us exactly why he does not need to be in the back. He needs to be front and center and in the ring. Because this was a dope match, and all of us believed it was going to be so. At the end of the day, this is a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Looks like we're going to get a Penta and the Money in the Bank. Makes sense. Because Chad Gable's not going to be there. Because a dude that looks surprisingly like him is going to be in Worlds Collide. And at the very least, this dude got his head busted open, so Chad Gable just can't beat the Luchadors by any metric. Dope match, and that's what pretty much all of us expected. I do wonder if Chad Gable is going to end up winning at Worlds Collide, or what is this going to mean? Anyways, for some strange reason, TOZAWA was fighting RUSEV, and we knew that this was, I mean, sure, a vote of confidence from TOZAWA, but brother, you never stood a chance. But luckily for RUSEV, TOZAWA was not going full strength, and he got handled pretty quickly. To the point where Rusev taps him out, and it just keeps going. At the end of the day, Sheamus shows up, and it looks like we're going to end up getting a slobber knocker between these two because they just get stared down, and Rusev just walks out, which I don't really understand because up until this point, the character that we've known as Rusev is somebody who wrecks house and is relentless. So it seems like he has some type of respect or some type of fear for Sheamus. This may mean something. We may get this. Who knows? We then got a six-man tag match, War Raiders, The New Day, and American Made. Again, something that's going to be, pretty quality. But while there were a lot of dope things that went on, The New Day ended up winning, and they just took their belts and ran. A roll-up win. I'm not mad at it, but again, I think the ship has sailed for New Day. I think a lot of us were at the edge of our seats when these dudes were breaking apart, and then they just disappeared for weeks. And the only thing we could get from them was them struggling to get an opportunity to speak, and there wasn't anything done creatively to get them an opportunity to do so. So I think the kind of hype died down, and now it is what it is. We then got this moment with Jey Uso and Gunther coming out for bro, I don't know how many times we've done this. I don't know if we're stuck in a metaverse. I don't understand if we're stuck in another time dimension. If we just keep getting looped this back. Is there anybody else in the backstage that can challenge for this belt? Anybody? Because why do we keep getting this? I mean, they're both hard-headed. And honestly, if I'm Gunther, I feel the same way. Brother, you beat me once. This is a 7-game series. I'm up. I'm winning. You would have already lost the series at this point if this was a best of 7. But I'm giving you this opportunity to hold on to the belt for a couple more months before I beat you. Unfortunately, Gunther, nobody believes you. You were supposed to be the ring general. You were supposed to be the dude that was going to make Jey Uso life hell. You didn't do that. All right? We got to see you beat his brother to a pulp in front of Jey Uso. So a lot of us might have believed that you were somebody. But then you went to WrestleMania and got choked out. And then right after that, you decided to get your retribution by fighting against Pat McAfee. And the dude hung with you. So at this point, nobody believes in you. None of us believe in you. We have no reason to. Because at this point, everything you say now is just talk. When you was a champion for over 600 days, you know what I mean? We spent almost a year as a world heavyweight champion. Brother, you might have been able to talk that talk. Off of what you've been able to do recently, there's no reason that anybody should fear you. There's no reason that anybody should be afraid of you. There's no reason that anybody should take anything that you say seriously. The dude only had a couple wins against Alpha Academy, which, who hasn't? He had a win against Jey Uso. They ended up getting choked out to later. So it was never an easy match for him. 2025 has been, in at the very least, not the year for Gunther. Dude, the commentators don't even fear you. Bro said, you know what I'm going to do? I've been sitting behind this table for weeks and months on end. Here's what I'm just going to do. I'm just going to hop out there with no wrestling experience and just go toe-to-toe with our ring general. And he did. I don't want to hear nothing Gunther got to say anymore. We then got the return of Liv Morgan to do, I have no idea what, but she fought KAIRI ZAYN, who just returned last week too. And we all saw backstage that there's a little bit of beef between Liv Morgan and Roxanne. Because she's upset that, for some strange reason, Roxanne is in the Judgment Day. And instead of directing this attention towards Roxanne and possibly Finn Balor, who's the one that brought Roxanne into the Judgment Day, everything is directed at her friend, her tag team partner, Raquel. Even the fact that Liv Morgan loses this match off of like a roll-up, that energy is directed at Raquel for being the one that made her lose the match. When in reality, nobody made her lose the match. Literally, Shorty was just paying attention to them arguing over there. Nobody did anything. Liv Morgan, you just need to pay attention. I don't know what the implications might be, but I mean, it was obvious with the vision of Judgment Day was there. Because if you pay attention, it's always in the clothes. Liv Morgan is the one person in red, while the rest of the Judgment Day wears black all night. You think it's a coincidence? I think not. Finn is loving the destruction and the confusion and the diffusion that's going on in the Judgment Day right now. And I don't know why he's laughing, but we're going to get to that later. We had Lyra, Valkyria, and Becky come out, and they roasted each other, and they roasted each other's man. Looks like Lyra's going to end up losing at, I think they're fighting at Money in the Bank, right? That's dope. So we've kind of set a precedent here as to why the Intercontinental Championship should be held with a little bit of esteem, held with a little bit of standard, because we have now one of the biggest stars going after the championship. She set a strange precedent. She set a strange task for Lyra, because after the match, if she loses, she wants to never have the opportunity to challenge again for this belt. But then if she wins, she wants Lyra to raise her hand. Lyra's done it before. I don't understand why Lyra wouldn't be able to raise her hand, but okay, whatever. Again, speaking to the legitimacies of the mid-card championships on the women's division, I think that it's dope that we're starting to see some women get some time that wouldn't have gotten time otherwise, and they'd be able to fit into a slot that they probably wouldn't have been able to otherwise. I think what could help these belts out would be, again, we have a lot of women in the locker room, and we have a lot of women looking for an opportunity to creep up into the main roster from NXT. Why not give them some matches? Why not get them to get some heat, right? Why not get them to get a little bit of fanfare as they head up to the main roster to build their prowess and build their name, right? You got Soroka, who has 2 belts already. Speed Championship, and she's the North American Championship, the champion for the women's division, and down in NXT. Why not have her be like, you know what, I got these belts, let me get a shot. Why not have Jada Parker come up there, be brash and full of energy and say, hey, look, Miss Parker, don't play. I want a shot at that belt. We got all these people going after Stephanie Valkyria. Why can't anybody, like, let's say Jordan Grace, direct her attention towards it? Let's do that so we can get a little bit, you know what I'm saying, of the train wrecks moving. And I think at the very least this points to something bigger. There's a grander problem here that I think a lot of people have alluded to, is that there's been a bad job done in regards to allowing a lot of these stars to thrive and become bigger than they could be. Because they've been all in segmented roles. The entire crowd has been clamoring. People online have been screaming for Karrion Kross to get an opportunity. And this dude in the show gets about 5 seconds where he's backstage talking to Sami Zayn as he walks out. But for some strange reason, the same Karrion Kross, who was a monster in NXT, is fighting to get an opportunity to have his face be shown on Raw. Let's just be a little more creative, bro. Let's get more opportunities to the people that are looking for a shot to step up. And if they can't wrestle against the big stars, then all right, that should be your sign. But at the very least, this could get them something, right? We could have some like qualifying matches or something. Like I think C-Jax made a video talking about it. I think it would be a solid enough opportunity to help the guys grow in lore and legend. If you had guys like Trick Williams, who just won the TNA Championship, be like, yo, you know what? I'm so good right now, bro. I could beat anybody. Let me get a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Let me get a shot at this belt. Let me get a shot for the Money in the Bank. Let's make this mean something. But no. Anyways, we got a vignette in the back of Rhea Ripley talking about Mommy in the Bank, which kind of leads us to believe that Rhea Ripley will win. I'm not gonna lie though, Mommy in the Bank is pretty catchy. I don't necessarily know what Rhea gains by winning the briefcase because she can, at literally anytime she wants, challenge for the championship. The only thing that I could see this benefiting her is if she ends up going to SmackDown. It's the only thing I can see this meaning anything. But yeah, I don't know what the benefit would be for Rhea Ripley to win because she can do whatever she can do with the Money in the Bank briefcase without it. But if you're thinking about t-shirts and everything like that, then yeah, sure. We think of Finn Balor and Sami Zayn matching up against Seth Rollins. I mean, we all knew Finn Balor, there's no way he was going to win this match. There was possibly a little bit of a thought process that was going on that Sami might win. But I said, no, that's too obvious. Maybe they'll give Finn the opportunity. No, it's going to Seth Rollins. But again, it doesn't make any sense because if he has Paul Heyman by his side, he should be able to get that shot whenever he wants to. But I think this could be entertaining because we've seen Seth Rollins have some of the greatest cash-ins. So him winning it again would be dope. This is a pretty solid match, and it did culminate in Seth Rollins getting the win because Dominic Mysterio costed Finn Balor. And we saw a lot of chaos going on outside the ring, which ended up with CM Punk sneaking up on Seth Rollins and giving him a GTS right after the match and then running off into the crowd. All in all, it was not a bad Raw by any metric. I don't know. I think there's just so much more that they could do. Truthfully, with a lot of the characters, there's guys like CM Punk that are only getting a quick 10-second segment at the end of these shows, just for a quick pop to end up with a match on a PLE. I don't know what he gains off of continuing to attack Seth Rollins, but if he doesn't want Seth Rollins to win the championship the same way he doesn't want Drew McIntyre to win the championship, cool. I'll allow for that consistency. But I think there's much more that we could do creatively. I don't really understand the purpose of Seth Rollins in this faction because what are the other guys getting out of this? Maybe Bronson Reed finally has the opportunity to be attached to somebody that has some relevancy. I mean, he was aligning himself with Solo whilst Solo was the tribal chief, but now he's got somebody who's got some names with him, and if you can't beat him, join him, sure. All right. I think the biggest difference between Roman Reigns and what he was doing as the tribal chief was he was using this power and this dictatorship to help put his family on, to help the people around him eat. Seth Rollins is just like, this is what I'm going to do, and if you want to join me, join me. And it's not really anything he's looking to do. He just wants to, I guess, create a better future for the wrestling. I don't know what does that even mean. When John Cena wants to destroy wrestling. So, in some sense, you would think we would have these two come head to head, right? You would think. Probably not. Also, what the heck is Jey Uso doing? Isn't this dude tagging with Cody Rhodes? And Money in the Bank in 2 weeks? And he's yelling at Gunther? Because Gunther has a match with him? Right after Money in the Bank? I don't care anymore.